then Clara came on board and went through more iterations. COVID happened, and that led to some creative discussions and changes. And now you can go and see it.
Great. And so what was the original nightmare you had? I'm curious about that.
Something very similar to what happens with Tara happened with me. And instead of my partner thinking that should make him run in the other direction, he was like, that's a cool horror movie idea.
Well, great. And Clara, when you directed this story, were there any special challenges that you had to overcome?
Oh, sure. I mean, as Ali mentioned, COVID threw us a bit of a curveball, and what that required of us was kind of reconceiving some of the intimacy scenes. Obviously, there was a lot of actors being in close proximity to one another that we had to reconceive or just make sure was really earned. And so there was that side of it. Then also that impacted how we might want to conceive of or execute any fight scenes. But more than anything, it altered how we were going to render the titular appendage. I don't want to offer any spoilers is the thing, but what I will say is originally there was not intended to be any CG. Everything was intended to be done practically. And we actually fitted Dana for a silicone body rig, which we did end up using. But we went from going, it is a horror film. There are special effects in it. We basically transitioned some things from practical special effects to post-production visual effects. And then aside from that, there was just the challenge of, making a film under Blumhouse's kind of famous constraints of like, how quickly can you do this at a level of quality that feels like it can carry the name of the production company. And we were gifted with a very skilled crew. And I'm pretty proud of what we were able to accomplish.
Cool. And did either of you get any particular ideas besides what you mentioned or directions from the producers about how to do the episode, or they pretty much let you do what you want?
Well, they were involved in giving notes. They know what they're doing, right? So, and I'll let Ali talk to that process. But as far as like how we wanted to realize it, they gave me a really long leash, because one of the things that's beautiful about the Into the Dark anthology is how absolutely varied each episode is from the one before it, right? Like each one is very filmmaker focused and voicey. And so that was very cool. But I'm also curious to hear, Ali, what it was like developing with Blumhouse.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially given that the Into the Dark series is so focused on particular holidays and particular themes driving each episode, it was about really paring down and focusing on what the central idea of this story is, which is the relationship and losing yourself in another person, and just really streamlining things so that it's snappy, at a pace, Into the Dark episode. So yeah.
Okay. And is it Clara or Clara? Oh, I'm sorry, I had the wrong one. Sorry. Dana. Sorry, I'm a little confused this morning. Was it difficult to play both a woman and a monster at the same time?
Absolutely not. It was very easy. Best possible way. I, don't think that women, not that you were putting these words in my mouth in any way, but I don't think that women are two-dimensional characters. I think that, there's a full 360 view of women as, well, I was going to say as humans, but I guess she's not a human in this film. But no, I thought that was the most exciting part of the film, actually. And one of the reasons I was so drawn to the role was that I was able to play a woman who is not easily put in, a spoon-fed constraint that we're so used to. So I had a lot of fun with that, actually.
Okay, well, good. And I wanted to ask you, I hope it's not a delicate question, but did you and Casey feel comfortable with each other before you had to do all those sex scenes?
Yeah, this is my favorite subject to talk about, actually. Clara did an incredible job of in a multi-step process of making sure that we were comfortable with each other, making sure that everything was well communicated and above board, making sure that we had a really wonderful intimacy coordinator who worked with us to get everything out in terms of our boundaries, but also our desires and what we wanted to do on camera. And I can only speak for myself right now, but I think it goes for both myself and Casey that we both felt very comfortable and excited to do all the intimacy scenes. And it was such a wonderful experience. I only have positive things to say about it.
And had you done scenes like that before?
I hadn't in film necessarily, but I worked for a decade as a model, and I had pretty harrowing experiences in the modeling industry, that coming to this project and having agency and a voice for my own body and for my own subjectivity in those roles was so refreshing. And I was so moved by that. And I was so thankful to Clara and to our intimacy coordinator, Corinne, for being such advocates on my behalf throughout the entire process. I felt like it was a completely different experience from my former experiences from my previous job. So, yeah.
I wonder if it makes a big difference working for women more than for men who are in charge.
Yeah, I mean, I love that we had a female writer and a female director. I can't speak to another experience of it, but I've worked with a lot of male photographers who were total jerks. And that would actually be a really interesting question for Casey, who I'm sure has worked with multiple directors. I wonder what his experience was, but I can't speak to that.
Right.
But yeah, I not only in terms of the coordination of the intimacy scenes, but also the subjectivity of Tara's character as a, someone who loves sex, someone who is not necessarily just the object of it. She's really much the subject of a lot of those sexual experiences, and that the sex scenes were not just like hetero P and V sex. They were like very intimate and very sensual. And the first one was just from Tara's pleasure. And I'm very proud to have collaborated with Clara and Corinne and Ali on those scenes with that subjectivity.
Yeah, I'm actually interviewing Casey on Monday, but I know he was on Days of Our Lives for a long time, so I'm sure he was comfortable with the sex scenes. But any question, do you think, guys, you can think of that I should ask him? Anything particular that you think would be interesting for me to ask Casey on Monday?
I'd love for him to talk about how he works with, and Dana, tell me if you feel differently, but I just think they're both extremely skilled, but he, I think, really brought life with, again, I'm not sure about the spoilers, but like watching him work with the CG aspects, like aspects that weren't there, he's very embodied. His process is very intense. That's what I'd be keen to hear about, but I don't know if you feel differently, Dana, having been on set with him.
No, I think that's a great question. I mean, Casey has a specific type of focus that I hadn't seen in other actors, and he's very, very, very good at creating an image that is really believable, even when it's with these sort of practical stand-ins. So physically, he's just very capable of that. I'd be very curious to hear what his process is for that too, and if he'd be willing to speak on it even.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for talking to me.
No problem.
Thank you, Sam.
All right. Have a good one.
Nice to
Bye,
meet
you too.
Bye.